Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Another scorcher here on the homestead. It's 95 degrees, real feel at 99. It's 97 in the workshop over here. It's really warm. But today we're going to do a full service on my rod and mower here. It's the Cub Cadet and it's the LT50. It has about 139 hours on it, I think, a little over that. And I try to change the oil every 45 45 hours, and I have every time, but it's time to do a full service. We're going to sharpen the blades, take the deck apart and clean it, and I got spark plugs, air filter, a little bit of everything. So let me show you the parts I got. Okay, so here's the parts I got. I got a new oil filter. I got 2 quarts of oil. That's what it holds exactly, 2 quarts. And it's the oil made for that engine. It's a Kohler engine. So I bought it right from Kohler. It's a Kohler oil filter. And they send you this fuel stabilizer. And if you get this kit, whatever you do, don't dump this into your lawnmower. So you're supposed to put that in your gas can before you put it in your mower. Also, I got a new fuel filter. This is the one that's on there. It's the same one. And 2 new spark plugs and a new air filter. So we'll be putting all these parts into the mower and also sharpening the blades and cleaning the deck and inspecting the belts. I didn't get new belts, but it's probably getting close to time to go ahead and put some new belts on it. I'll inspect them while we're sharpening the blades and cleaning the deck, and then I'll make a decision whether I need to get them or maybe wait till this winter, since it is August now, just about a couple days, so might just wait till winter time and do it over the winter. I think they'll be okay till then, but I'll go ahead and inspect them when I got it all apart and make sure. So I guess let's get started and get this thing done. Okay, in order to get the these off, these are the pulley and belt covers. There's 3 10mm bolts. One there, one down there, and one over there. So we'll go ahead and remove those, and then this cover should come off. We can look at the pulley and the belt and clean out all the grass and debris that builds up under there. So let's start with that. Just a little bolt. So there's 3 of those. And this one back here is a little hard to get to. I might have to grab a short extension. No, I got it. I would use an impact driver with a nut driver on the end, but you can't get it in here. That's 2. I think I can use the extension on this one. This one's over here. So once you get those 3 out, this cover will come off, and yeah, look at all the grass. It just really piles up under there, and unless you take that off every time when you're done mowing, you really can't get it out of there. So I try to do this as often as I can. let's take a look at the belt. The belt doesn't look too bad. It's not cracked. It's still taut. A lot of grass buildup in here. So I think the belt's gonna be okay. I could spray some belt conditioner on it just to, you know, prolong its life. Everything looks pretty good. Pulleys look pretty good under here. So I think we just need to clean it, sharpen the blades, and maybe oil up the pulleys a little bit, and we'll be good to go. Alright, I got the big chunks out. We'll go ahead and get all that small stuff and clean it real good in a minute. Let's go ahead and take the other side off. It's the same thing, 3 bolts. And they're 10mm. That one wasn't very tight. Channel and you haven't seen any of my other videos, go check out my other video of maintenance on this lawnmower. It's the same mower. Basically what I did was I cleaned the deck without taking these covers off, and I greased it all down with WD-40 after I was done spraying it off and scrubbing it to prolong its life. It's one thing I like to do with my lawnmower decks. So if you haven't seen that video, go check it out. A lot of grass under here. A lot of grass. Alright, I'm back with the compressor, or with the air. If you have a compressor and you don't have one of these, get one. They come in real handy. Try not to blow dirt on the camera. My other video I talked about how this won't work to just blow everything off of there. You have to get the big stuff off first. And let me show you a perfect example of that. If you can see under there, there's a huge amount of grass, and this compressor, this air won't blow that out. You got to reach under there with your hands to get the big stuff out and then blow it out with the compressor. It's just too hard for the compressor to blow it out. So I just got some Dawn dish soap and a bucket of water, and I went ahead and I scrubbed these covers for the pulleys and the belt. and I'm gonna let them dry, and then I'll spray them down with some WD-40 on both sides, just a really light coat. That'll preserve the plastic, keep it from drying out in the sun. And we're gonna move on over here to the deck. I'm gonna get the bucket of water over here and wipe this deck down real good with the soapy water. So that'll be the next step. I got it fairly clean, so I'm just going to take the hose and spray it off, and we'll be good to go on the top. Mary, you want to help wash the lawnmower? Mary? No? What, you just want to play in the hose? Yeah? You need a drink? No, we're not playing. I just thought you wanted a drink. I gotta wash the mower. Mary, let me do this. Mary, you gonna let me do this? I'm trying to clean the lawnmower. Mary. Can't. Okay, I sprayed it all off with the hose. It's nice and clean. I'm gonna go ahead and pull it back in the garage and let it dry so I can spray that with WD and put a protective coating on it. And maybe while I'm letting it dry, we can work on cleaning the bottom out and getting the blades off so we can sharpen them. So let me do that real quick, pull it in there, and we'll go from there. Okay, I got the mower all jacked up. This is how I like to do it. I put the floor jack under the front. It has that nice bracket under there that the floor jack will sit, or it'll sit right in the floor jack. And then in the back I just have it scotched with a couple blocks on the tires so it doesn't roll. So let's get under there and scrape the deck clean. And anytime you're scraping on the deck, you want to make sure you use some wood. You don't want to use anything metal, plastic or wood. See if I can get you guys under here so you can see. Scrape all this grass off. What's up here? It's not too bad, actually. I mean, it's fairly clean if you look. I try to never cut grass when it's wet. I try to always make sure it's dry so it doesn't stick under here. And it came with an attachment for the hose where you could flush it out. But I very rarely use that because I try not to get my deck wet because it rusts out so fast. So I pretty much just cut the grass when it's dry and take a wood shim here if I need to clean some of it up, and that's all I do. So as you can see, it's pretty clean. And I do spray the bottom with WD-40 to help with the rust, and it also lubricates this so that the grass doesn't stick to it as much. So that's a couple pointers for you. So I'm gonna go ahead and scrape this out. This little bit that's under here is not much, and then I'll show you how I take the blades off and sharpen them. Okay, so that was all I was able to scrape out of the bottom, so it was pretty clean. So one thing you want to do before you go and try to loosen your blades on your mower is to take your spark plug wires off your spark plugs. So I went ahead and I already disconnected. There's 2 spark plugs, one on each side. I went ahead and disconnected the wires to them. So now we're ready to take the blades off. I like to use an impact with a socket. This happens to be a 24 millimeter. So you just want to put it on there. And one thing is that it's really tight to the ground. So I'm basically just gonna break it loose, and then I'll have to move the drill and take it out with my hand. So just stick it on there and boom, comes right off. I always put some lube on my threads before I put my bolts back in. You could use axle grease or WD-40. I've been using WD-40, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and use some axle grease this time just to give them a really good coating of lubrication. But as you can see, they came off really easy. And the deck looks nice and clean. There's a little bit of grass back there in the back I missed. But yeah, they look pretty good. I'll spray them down with WD-40 after I sharpen the blades. So let me go ahead and show you how I sharpen the blades. So I got my cordless angle grinder, and this is a sanding wheel. It's got the little flaps of sandpaper. This is a 40 grit. And I'm using the sawhorses with a piece of plywood for this demonstration because my workbench is way over there. But I went ahead and clamped the blade down to my bench here with a clamp, and then I'm just going to use that angle grinder to go ahead and sharpen this blade. Now, of course, when you flip it over, you don't want to take hardly any off. You're basically just cleaning the edge up a little bit because the bevel's all one way on the blade. So I just flipped it over just to clean the edge up a little bit. There are some nicks in this blade. I don't know if you can see them from hitting rocks and stuff around here. So I won't be able to get all those out, but I will try to get as many as I can out. I do have a bench grinder. Now I could put this on the bench grinder and get all those out, but it doesn't fit on the bench grinder real well. It's really hard to do it because it's a mulching blade that it's really hard to get it lined up right on the bench grinder. That's why I prefer using the angle grinder with the sanding disc, because it's so much better. And the sharper you make your lawnmower blade, the more chance of it getting nicked if you hit a rock or something, because that edge will be so thin that it'll chip real easy. So I don't make them razor sharp. I just want some kind of decent edge on there and try to take some of those nicks out, because that damages the grass when it cuts it. I'd say that's pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side, and we'll put it back on. Okay, I got it all sharpened up, and I have some of this axle grease, axle bearing grease. I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit of that on the threads before I put the blade on. Just a tiny little bit, don't need much. Okay, so you gotta put the blade where it goes in that little groove, like that, and then the washer and the nut. Hand tighten it. And then the nice thing about using an impact, if you have a good quality impact and your battery's, you know, almost full, that if you just click it a few times like that, you know it's plenty tight enough. And it's not gonna come off. Alright, 2 more. This mower has 3 blades, as you can see. So I'll do the other 2 just like that one, and then we'll spray the whole bottom of the deck and we'll go on to the rest of the tune-up. Okay, I got all 3 blades sharpened, put back on. Put grease on all the threads of the bolts. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and coat the underneath with some WD-40, just to keep it from rusting, keep the grass from sticking. It don't take much, just, you know, nice little coating over everything. Okay, one thing I want to do before I let it back down off the jack is up here there's little grease fittings for these steering knuckles, and it's a lot easier to grease them while it's off the ground. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my grease gun and grease these up. You want to keep filling them until you start to see it come out of the seal down here at the bottom and the top. So a little bit came out the bottom. Now I know it's completely full, and we're good to go on that one. I'll do the other side. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and spray the deck before I let it off the jack. So just wanna, I usually get a little bit and just kind of smear it around. Make sure you get the sides good. Basically just want to give it a coating. Hit these pulleys. Nice and shiny. All right, I'm gonna do the other side, and then I'm gonna put these covers back on that we took off, and then we'll let it off the jack and we'll go ahead and work on the spark plugs and the oil. Okay, I got the pulley covers back on. I went ahead and sprayed them with some WD-42 and wiped them off, so everything's looking nice and new and shiny. All right. So now we're gonna go on to changing the oil, spark plugs, air filter, fuel filter on the engine. So I guess let's start with the spark plugs. They're right here. There's one on each side, and I had already took the wire off of them because when we changed the blades, remember I said that you needed to make sure that you disconnect that so it can't accidentally start. Okay, these spark plugs are the smaller spark plug socket that comes in your toolkit. If you get a small one and a big one, it's the smaller sized one. They don't look too bad. I've only replaced them once before, so I think at like 75 hours or something, and we're almost at 150. I think we're at 139.9 or something. So yeah, they don't look too bad. I'm gonna go ahead and replace them because they come with that tune-up kit that I bought with the oil and filters and stuff. So I'll go ahead and put a new one in. I've already checked the gap, and the gap is between the firing pin or electrode and the little shaft that comes out. The space in between is the gap. I already checked these because they all say that they come preset usually, but I always check them anyway because they get banged around in shipping and packing. So I like to check them, and I always double check what I looked up, what they're supposed to be, with the old one, and made sure that, you know, I got the right information online. So these look exactly the same. I'll go ahead and put this one in my gauge and make sure it is the same, and then I'll stick the new one in if it's right. Alright, I'll go ahead and put the new one in. I always start it by hand or just with, you know, an extension where I can turn it gently. Make sure you don't cross thread it. Snug it up. Go ahead and just, I don't like them very tight because you don't want them to get, you know, broke off when you're trying to get them out. So just a nice, easy snug up, and they're good to go. Put your wire back on, and I'm gonna go do the other side, and then we'll do the fuel filter. Okay, I got the other spark plug installed. And I'm sure there's some mechanics watching that would be like, oh, those spark plugs are supposed to be at a specific torque. And yeah, well, that's probably true. But I found that if you just snug them up instead of getting your torque wrench out for a spark plug, nice and snug but not over tight, you're good to go. So before we get any comments like that, so now onward to the fuel filter. Now on your fuel filter, it's gonna have an arrow, and that means from the fuel tank in and out to the engine, following the arrow. So this side of our line here goes to our fuel tank, and this side here goes to our carburetor and our engine. So I found the best thing to do is to take this side off first. And I got this little bowl to catch the fuel. Okay. Now pull the hose so I can hold it like that and it won't leak. And take this side loose. Oh, it is leaking because I almost got a half a tank. I always end up doing this when I got a whole lot of gas in the tank. Take this side loose. Put our new one on. Buy me a few seconds while the filter, oh. I thought it was gonna buy me a few seconds while the filter filled up. It filled up fast. Move our clamp back. Put our other side on. Move our clamp back. And just let that drip into that bowl for a second. You grab a rag. Okay, so take a rag and dry up all that gas so we can make sure we don't have any leaks. We don't want any wetness on the outside. And make sure we check this because we don't want this leaking while we're cutting grass. It could start a fire and burn your mower up. So make sure it's nice and dry. Gas evaporates quick, so we'll check it when we're done with everything else and see if it's wet, and then we'll start it and check it and see if it's wet. So that's done. Okay, let's do the air filter. The air filter's up here in this little compartment. It's got these little tabs. You just pull them out like that. That one was a little hard, but you pull those out, and then this little cover comes up, and there's our air filter right there, and it looks pretty dirty. Wow. Yeah, in the summertime we don't get a lot of rain and it gets real dusty around here. A lot of hair in it too from the dogs. Look at that. So oh yeah, it's really dirty. So I got a brand new one. We'll go ahead and put a brand new one in there. I'll wipe out around the edges of where it goes because there's some dust in there. So let me do that. I mean, I could blow it out with the air compressor, but I'm afraid I would blow a lot of it down into the intake. I'd rather just use a rag right here and wipe it all out so I'm careful not to get any into the intake. It's pretty good. I'll wipe the bottom of the cover off too because it was pretty dusty. So here's the new filter. It has that sponge that goes around the outside, and you have to install that yourself. So you pretty much just take this sponge and put it around it. It's pretty easy. Make sure it's covering all the little white part of the other filter all the way around, and look, it has a little line where you line up the seam, and you just set that in there, push it down on there. The new ones are always a little hard to get to go down all the way. There we go. And I'll go ahead and wipe the inside of the cover off. On the top of it. Okay. And that just fits in there like that, and you close it. Got to kind of hold down on it a little bit and then close those tabs. And that's the air filter. Okay, the only thing we have left to do, I think, is change the oil. And this thing has got this new fan dangled drain spout. It's got a little cap. You take the little cap off, and then you pull this whole thing out, twist it and pull it, and it comes out, and then the oil starts to drain. And of course the oil filter is right here next to it. So they do give you this little funnel, and it has this little hook on it, and it works perfect because you can hook it right there and push it up underneath that spout like that, and it's almost perfect. And it has this little hose. Well, you want to make sure that you dispose of your used oil properly, and most auto store part stores will take used oil for free. So make sure you put it in a container and take it to your part store or somewhere in your town and dispose of it properly. There is a lot of uses for used motor oil around the farm, so you know, we do use some, but I do take some to the part store too. So I do have this container right here to drain it into. The problem is that the deck of the mower and the tire right here are too close together, and I can't push this underneath where the hose will reach. So if you got one of these flex funnels, these things are great. I mean, they're just amazing. You can set that hose onto that flex funnel. Well, now I knocked it off. You can set this gently onto that flex funnel, and it'll go right into where you need it to go. So we're gonna go ahead and drain the oil and to this. You gotta twist this thing a little bit. It's got a little groove so it doesn't accidentally get pushed open. And there you go. These flex funnels are just amazing. I love them. If you don't have one, go get one. For projects like this, they work great. So we'll just let this drain out, and then we'll go ahead and change the filter after that. That's a little bit more challenging. Sometimes I'll jack it up so that I can slip this underneath there, and I'll use the flex funnel. That's probably how I'll do it, because most of all the oil will be out. The only oil that'll be left is in the filter, so I don't have to worry about it not being level as I drain it. So we'll just go ahead and let this run out nice and slow. Another thing I like to do too is I like to pop the dipstick. That'll let some air flow into the block of the engine and let the oil flow out a lot smoother and quicker. So I'm just gonna sit here and hold this till it all drains out, and then we'll do the filter and I'll show you that. Okay, I think it's just about done dripping. I think what's left dripping is just coming from this flex funnel. So I'm gonna go ahead and shut this and put this stuff up and then get set up to do the oil filter. I'm gonna go ahead and jack it up so I can slide this underneath there, and we'll go from there. Okay, I got it jacked up. I got the catchment container underneath. I got the flex funnel set up the best I can under there. You see how it's not kind of centered with the filter because this spout won't let me put it right in the middle. And I had to put a stick to hold the hood up because when it's jacked up at this angle, the hood wants to keep closing. So let's go ahead and take the filter off, and hopefully it'll drain into this tank. And before I get comments about how tight that was, I did not put it that tight when I put it on. For some reason it seems like these get tighter. I don't know. Never had that happen before till this moment. I don't know how much of that's going on that flex funnel. Looks like it's dripping down on the deck a little bit right here. I'll have to wipe it up. It's a stupid design. Okay, so one thing you want to do, and this is pretty important, is this is metal and your engine will heat up, and this is a rubber gasket. So if it doesn't have a little barrier in between this rubber gasket and that metal, when it heats up, this rubber will stick to that metal. And when you change your filter the next time, if you don't watch, there'll be pieces of that rubber on here, and then it won't seat properly. The new filter won't seat because it'll stick to this rubber here, or sit on this rubber here. So one thing you want to do is take a little bit of this old oil and rub it on this rubber gasket. Just a little coating, you don't need a whole lot. And it's okay that you're using the old oil. There's still a little bit of old oil in this engine. You can use it from right there, it doesn't matter. But you want to put a little bit of oil on there. And then you want to just screw this on there. And like when you watch, I'll only put this hand tight. And then when we do this next time, it'll be super tight. I don't know why, but it does. Hand tight. Hand tight, that's it. A little bit of oil on this deck won't hurt nothing. It'll just keep it from rusting. It's just a tiny bit, a couple drops. Most of it went into our catchment. Okay, so we just gotta, I'm gonna let it back down before we fill it up, take it off the jack so it's nice and level. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then we'll fill it up with oil, and I think we're good to go. Okay, so we got the new filter on there. I'm gonna go ahead and fill it up with oil. And like I said, I bought the kit that was specifically for this engine. It's the Kohler engine, Kohler oil. It's a 10W30, and I know it takes exactly 2 quarts. So we can just dump these 2 quarts in there. We don't have to worry about overfilling it or anything. Use this little funnel that it came with. That's one. Make sure you get it all out of there, because it holds exactly 2 quarts, so you want to make sure you get it all out. Number 2. And there's 2. So while the oil drains out of this filter or funnel, I'm gonna go ahead and check the air in the tires, and then we'll start this up and cut a little patch of grass and see how it cuts. It's too late to mow tonight. I think it's like 6:30, 7 o'clock. So, but we'll cut a little patch and see how it looks. Okay, we got it all put back together. Sorry about the sweat. It's like 100 degrees in this building. So if we did everything right, it should start right up. So I guess let's see if it starts. think we did it right. Just kidding, I needed to choke it. So let me pull it outside and then we'll check that fuel filter and make sure it's not leaking. Then we'll cut a little patch of grass and see how it cuts with those new sharp blades. Nice and dry. Looks good. All right, let me cut a patch of grass. Okay, as you can see, it cut pretty nice. The grass actually looks cut, not chewed. So we did a good job. Well, hopefully this video helped some of you. And hopefully the ones that it didn't help were entertained by the video, let's say. I had a good time doing it. It needed to be done. So why not make a video? So I hope you all enjoyed that. Thanks for watching till the end. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Hit that bell, all notifications. Throw us a like. Don't be a stranger. Come back and see us. We got a lot of unique videos. So, but thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.